Hello friends, and welcome back to another BOOKMAS video. In today's video, I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the reading goals that I have for 2025. How are we already at the end of 2024? I know we say it all the time, this year flew. It feels like every year just gets faster and faster, and that's just par for the course as we get older, but truly this year flew. How are we already at the end of 2024? I don't understand. But as usually happens with a new year, we make goals and resolutions, and some of us accomplish them to varying degrees. Some of us don't accomplish our goals at all, which, story of my life. But I do have some goals that I have for my reading life that I wanted to share with you all. And the whole idea for 2025 is low pressure. Now, I say that, and low pressure is the goal, the ultimate goal. I don't want to feel pressure to read books I don't want to read. I want to read what I'm in the mood for. Reading is a hobby, it is a joy, and it shouldn't be something that causes dread or stress. So I am aiming for balance and low pressure in 2025. That being said, there are challenges and lists of books that I want to get through, and that's because I love making lists and I love readathons. I love Jane Austen July, Victober, all of that. So definitely still going to be participating in those. Definitely still want to read as many books as I can, but I'm not putting a huge emphasis on a certain number of books that I need to read or like a sort of quota that I need to meet. I just want to read what I want to read. So I have a little notebook here with some of my goals. And like I was saying, number one, at the end of the day, I want to follow my reading mood. If I'm not in the mood for a certain book, a certain type of story, I'm not going to force myself to read it. Again, I'm going to be participating in the readathons and challenges that I really want to participate in. And even buddy reads, I want to stick to them. They bring me joy and they always make the reading experience so much better. So following my mood, but still having fun with these readathons. And I also want to try to read some books off of my 30 by 30 list, and I will link the video below where I shared 30 books that I want to read before I turn 30, so definitely going to read some from that list as well. One of the items on that list is to read all of Shakespeare's plays by the time I turn 30. That means I need to read about 10 plays a year until then. I've already read a few of his plays. There are less than 40, and I have 4 years to complete this goal. I'm going to try to read 10 Shakespeare plays this year. If I fail, that is okay. That is fine. It's not going to bother me, but that's the goal. I'm going to try to read 10 Shakespeare plays. I do want to read more Dickens, and I believe I have 4 more of his works that I need to read. Next up is Little Dorrit, so I'm going to hopefully read that. I'm thinking the springtime. And then I also want to read the next one in publication order, which is A Tale of Two Cities. So the goal is to read 2 books by Charles Dickens this year, and I think that's doable, especially with Victober later on. I am also planning on reading Wives and Daughters by Elizabeth Gaskell, and that will be my final full-length novel by Elizabeth Gaskell, and I'm hoping to buddy read that with my friend Madeline from Cozy Cottage Chapters. So Wives and Daughters is definitely a priority, and these books are also all on my 30 by 30 list, so that helps with that list. And then I want to finish Middlemarch by December. So Middlemarch, I am reading it in the way that it was released. The first volume of it was released in December of one year, and then the final in December of the next year. So I'm reading it as it was released serially. And I already started it and I'm already really enjoying it. So I'm excited for Middlemarch. I'm excited to slowly make my way through it, and that will take me about a year. I'm planning on starting The Last Chronicle of Barset, which is the last Barsetshire novel in the series by Anthony Trollope. So I'm starting it this month in December, but plan on finishing it in January. So then I'll have completed the Barsetshire series. And then the goal is to read a couple of Anthony Trollope's standalones and then possibly start the Palliser series. I'm not too sure about the Palliser series just yet, when I'll start that, but I do plan on reading Ralph the Heir and I think The Bertrams with my friend Elizabeth. So definitely a couple of Anthony Trollope standalones I also want to read in 2025. Now, I also plan on starting and finishing the Iliad by Homer. I recently purchased this book and I'm really, really glad that I got this edition. I've heard nothing but good things about Emily Wilson's translation, so I'm really excited. I just signed up for this course through Hillsdale College. It is completely free and it is basically a literature 101 class, and it's from ancients to the medieval period, but it's just a selection of I think 10 or 12 books from different centuries, from the ancient period to the medieval period, and you focus on one book at a time, and there's a video lecture that goes along with it. So the Iliad is the first book on the list. I don't know how long that class will take me, but I'm going to take as long as I need to read this. I'm not going to rush through it. but I'm thinking of trying to read it in 3 to 4 months. So I'm starting it in January, and then I'll see how long it takes me. January is epistolary January, so this is not going to be my focus in that month, but February to March and April, maybe. I'm nervous, but I'm also excited because Greek mythology is referenced in so many books, including Victorian literature, which I love, and books like The Secret History, and I don't understand what these references even mean, and I want to, and I'm very curious, and I want to read this. So this is going to happen in 2025. And then I also want to read the entire Lord of the Rings series, and I have talked about that in my winter TBR video, which I think you will see before you see this video. So in my winter TBR, I mentioned I want to reread Fellowship and then read The Two Towers and The Return of the King. My other really big goal for 2025 is to participate in Anne's reading challenge. It is a classics reading challenge, and I'll have the video where she announced it linked below. It is fantastic. I love her idea so much, and it has 3 different levels to the challenge. My goal is to participate in the first level 100% every single month. If I don't meet the second level, which is like a scavenger hunt, I'm not gonna beat myself up over it. But the third level is pretty easy from what I saw. So I'm really, really excited for this challenge, and definitely want to read more classics in 2025. So this challenge is just perfection. So I'm really, really excited. I think it's called the Reading the Classics Challenge. And she says you can read anything as long as it's at least 50 years old. It counts for the readathon or the reading challenge. So definitely participating in that. I started writing out my own little page for the Reading the Classics Challenge for the year. And you can see, like in January, the prompt is to read a book from your physical TBR. The scavenger hunt items, you can either use 1, 2, or 3 books to try to fulfill these scavenger hunt items. So a book, either in the title or on the cover, has a male protagonist, and then winter, or it has like a wintry scene. So these 3 books need to be paired with the prompt, I think. I could totally be wrong, but I already have a book, or 2 books actually, for the January challenge. But anyways, I'm really excited for this, and I'm not going to pressure myself, but I am going to try my absolute best to participate in that challenge. That is the only year-long challenge that I'm going to be participating in, because again, it's the year of balance and low pressure and everything. So it is the only, January to December reading challenge that I'm participating in. Of course, Jane Austen July is happening, Victober's happening, and Epistolary January, completely forgot. I'm co-hosting Epistolary January. So reading epistolary fiction in January alongside some other books as well, but low pressure as much as possible. And I love how I just listed a whole bunch of things that I want to read and things I want to do in 2025. But the ultimate goal is to read at a better pace than I have been in the past. In 2022 and 2023, I read 200 books-ish, and I don't think that was healthy for me, to be completely honest. I think everyone reads differently, and some people have more time, some people have less time. It doesn't matter how many books you read, and I don't ever want to find myself in that position of like, I didn't read enough this year, or the fear of missing out. I definitely felt that before. And this year, 2024, I've read 100 and something books, a lot less than the years before, and I'm happy with that. I want to get more out of the books that I'm reading, especially if they're classics. I want to gain more. I want to understand more of what I'm reading. I don't want to have that feeling of like, read. I just need to read the next book and pick up the next book. The thing with me is that's just part of my nature, is I'm always like, okay, quick, we got to get this finished, moving on to the next thing. But truly in 2025, I want to slow down and really focus in on what I'm reading, especially if they're classics. Of course, there's what Anne calls book candy out there, and I don't care how fast I read, those types of books, cozy mysteries, and even some historical fiction. Like it's for the fun of reading, and I want to enjoy it. But with a lot of books, I just want to slow down. Now, as for the channel, nothing's changing. I don't plan on taking breaks throughout the year unless absolutely necessary. I want to be filming every month, but I do want to try to film more dedicated book reviews for just one specific book. I've only done one before, and it was for Shirley by Charlotte Bronte. And I'm just so intimidated by book reviews, even though when I talk about books, I tend to take forever. So they're basically like mini book reviews anyway when I do my wrap-ups, but I'm so intimidated, but I want to do more. We'll see. And then the other big goal for the year is to do at least 2 or 3, maybe 4 more author appreciation videos. I did one for Ellen Montgomery, and I really, really enjoyed doing the research and making the video. It was so enjoyable. So I want to do some more author appreciation videos. I definitely want to do Jane Austen for Jane Austen July, and then probably Dickens at some point as well. I might try to vlog more. I have only vlogged a few times, and It was back in like 2022. I just find it so hard to vlog because it requires me to look somewhat presentable. And after work, when I would have the time to vlog, I am the opposite of presentable. Working as a nurse is tough sometimes, and I just am in bed and reading when in my pajamas, and vlogging has just been challenging. I haven't really had the motivation or the time, but maybe in the new year I'll find a way to incorporate some reading vlogs. I'd love to do like a cozy winter reading vlog at some point, maybe in February. We'll see. It's not set in stone. None of this is set in stone. But that's it. That is what I wanted to share on my goals for 2025 around reading and this channel and everything. Nothing huge, just some goals. We'll see how the year goes. I just hope it's a great reading year in general, and I hope you all have a wonderful reading year. Please let me know in the comments if you have any reading goals for the year, or if you're just kind of gonna go with the flow. I'd love to know and discuss more in the comments below. But thank you, friends, so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.